Welcome to Ghoulish Gab, always spooky, always under 7 minutes. Today we're going to talk about some home invasion films. Very scary subgenre because they're based in the real life threat that somebody or something you don't know could come into your home. And that should be terrifying to everyone.
Absolutely. Actually, when I was
So,
going through my list of movies, I realized that I have not watched a lot of home invasion movies, specifically because they give me such anxiety
yeah.
and like actual genuine fear. It's not like, oh, fun, spooky, that's a monster fear. It's like, who's outside of my house right now? Fear that I haven't watched as many. So I've only got a few suggestions for you this time.
Yeah, they're generally not fun. So then it is what it is. I have one really heavy one I'll save to the end, but I'm just gonna start with The Purge, the original one from 2013. I mean, the whole series has home invasion vibes throughout it, but the very first one, was just centered on a smaller, just one family being invaded.
Yep.
Well, they brought in the premise of this whole Purge Day and everything that would spawn all the sequels, which is it's a wonderful premise because you can really, since your story covers something that's happening in the whole country over many years, there's so many different stories you could go and tell. You could just keep making all these Purge movies from different aspects. But again, the home invasion there, that's probably the more popular one that I'm gonna mention. The first one's good. They're all good, but the first one is really home invasion all the way.
One of the probably most popular home invasion movies that I've watched is Panic Room from
Oh yeah,
2002. Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart before she was in Twilight, uh, Jared Leto with cornrows, you
that's
know.
scary enough right there.
But yeah, this whole idea that they buy this couple or not couple, this woman and her daughter move into a house that was owned by this millionaire or something. And turns out they move in too fast because these other people were going to try to sneak into the house and break into a safe. And so they head into the panic room that the previous owner had installed. And then it turns out the thing that these people are trying to get at is also in the panic room. And it's just the whole movie just leaves you feeling very tense. It's got a ton of good actors. I genuinely I will rewatch that movie and enjoy it.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I'm familiar with it. It was big when it came out. I remember seeing the trailers and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm gonna have to check that one out finally. The Invisible Man 2020, I really like how they took this story and updated it with this home invasion aspect. The woman who's the main character, her ex-boyfriend is the Invisible Man in this one. And I mean, it's terrifying because now, she thinks there's someone in her home. She has an idea that it's him, but the motherfucker's invisible. So it really adds a whole another aspect to the home invasion shit. And it's more terrifying in some ways, but it's also less terrifying because there's not going to be an invisible person in your house.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Uh a movie that I had that came out in 2006 that I remember watching, but though it's been a while, and I remember getting freaked out by it, was called Them. It was a French film, and I think the original title is like ILLS or IILS or something like that. But it's yeah, it's the same. They're this couple lives in Romania and they're like way out in the middle of the country, and all of a sudden their house is just surrounded by these people that are trying to get in, and they're like creepy hooded figures. I mean, it's scary because it's another ooh, this could be real situation. And yeah, I just remember being tense the entire time I watched it.
Yeah, I feel like all the home invasion movies have a real good chance of creating tension when they're done properly. Much more than almost any other subgenre. Um, Siege from 1983. This one's really heavy and it's a good watch, but oh Christ, it really just kind of brings you to some places. So it takes place in the 80s, and there's kind of like this underground gay club, and it gets attacked by these right-wing sociopaths, and they kill everybody in there except for one person. So then they're, chasing after this person who ends up at one of their friends' apartment buildings, where there's a group of their friends there. And then, of course, these fucking nutcases are trying to get into the apartment building, but now there's a group of people essentially doing whatever they can to protect themselves and try to take these guys out. And it's a well done film. I mean, the subject matter is, like I said, it's heavy, so you kind of have to be in the mood for that. But it's a
Yeah.
very, very well done film.
I'm tempted to say I'd want to watch it, but I might just get, I might end up having to shut it off depending on how it makes me feel. Um, so
What's nice is,
on the opposite end of a super heavy film, we're gonna go with the ultimate home invasion movie, 1990, Home Alone.
uh, that fucker would have killed those burglars so many times
Time,
over.
time and time again, Kevin McAllister was a psychopath,
He didn't
but
even
God,
call
did
the
we all
police
love that
once.
film?
He didn't call the police at all. He thought he was going to get in trouble for being
Oh,
home alone, maybe. God, he's crazier than like fucking Freddy or Jason and Michael Myers.
he's the real horror villain, Kevin McAllister.
He had to grow up to be a serial killer or some shit. Like, that's fucked, yeah. Well, we are out of time. Tell us if you've seen some of those movies. Tell us some of your favorite home invasion movies in the comments, or else we'll come to your house. No, we won't.